Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to join the Patreon, and just to give you guys something to talk about on your drive home from work or while you're cooking dinner. Has Caleb Plant Benevidez, since I said his first name, David Benevidez, replace Jared Hurd versus Jamal Charlo hype? Just curious, because I know everyone's been fancying over that fight since the Caleb Plant's hell of a performance Sunday night. And we all know the potential of David Benavidez. Regardless of what he's gone through, he is still an A-level fighter with potential. You get what I'm saying? David Benavidez is an A-level fighter with still untapped potential. Caleb Plant now has proven to be an A-level boxer with potential. So that makes this fight, maybe this time next year, David Benavidez has to fight for a belt. Caleb Plant has to defend his belt. We can't take it for granted like a Jamel Charlo. He still has to train like he's fighting for a championship, which I don't doubt that he do. He has a secret weapon. I call Larry Wade the secret weapon in boxing. He only, in a short period of time, he has trained 5 world champions and 5 world championship fights and won. You know, but I just think that's a real interesting question. I still like the Jared Hurd Jamel Charlo fight, but because Jamel Charlo lost, I think some zest has been taken off of that fight. And as it relates to, let me go in a different room. Kids are about to come downstairs. As it relates to David Benavidez and Caleb Plant, that fight is already a sellout, and it has yet to even be discussed. You know what I mean? Like, I think you could throw that fight wherever they want to put it. You can throw it. You could throw it at MGM Arena, sellout. I think it'll sell out. You could throw that fight at Barclay. I think it's a sellout. You could throw that fight in. Those are the two main cities, right? And LA is going to be a main city now as well for that fight. But I think that fight can get 15,000 people, 16,000 people, and I like that fight. It's sad that it's not sad because I recant that statement. It's not sad because you still have to win, you still have to fight. But I was definitely looking forward to that Jamel Charlo, Jared Hurd fight because them camps, oh man, you talk about a great fight to cover. You talk about YouTube gold, and you talk about covering a fight from wall to wall, and I know both camps very well. I wouldn't have no problem getting interviews and stuff like that. I would have brought you guys A1 content for that fight. So from that perspective, from a selfish perspective, in terms of our fan base, our community here on Barbershop Conversations, I think I could have done a hell of a job for y'all covering that fight. And it sucks that it doesn't have the glitz and the glamour right now. But that David Benavidez, I'm actually going to cover David Benavidez. I exchange information with Mr. Benevidez, and I'm looking forward to covering David. You know, he kind of reminds me of like a kid who's just budding into being himself. Seems like he was a very shy, withdrawn person. And boxing is bringing the greater Benavidez out. Boxing is bringing David Benavidez's purpose out, you know. And I'm not going to speak too soon because I'm going to have a chance to interview him, and I'm I'm so excited. I'm going to allow him to speak for himself, and so I'm just excited for that fight. I like where Caleb Plant is going. I like where David Benavidez is headed. I'm anxious to see how Jamel Charlo. I haven't seen him yet in public. I'm anxious to see how he will respond. Hopefully, he and Jamal will show up and get some media press. It's free. I know it hurts to lose. I've never been on that level as a Jamel Charlo, but he was fully invested in himself as the champion. And I think he attached that attach that belt to his identity. And he'll recover like everyone else. Like every setback you've had, like every setback I have, you will recover. And when he steps out for the first time, he's going to realize that we still believe you to be an A-level fighter. You just lost. And it's not okay to lose from a competitive standpoint. But when you wake up in the morning, that means you have another chance to redeem yourself. And he'll get a chance to redeem himself within the 4 months. And I'm definitely be excited at that fight. Hopefully that fight will be, well, regardless, I'm going now. Regardless, I'm going because Christmas didn't allow me to travel. Well, I could have traveled, but with 2 kids and Christmas looming, you got to be respectful. You got to be respectful to that in terms of the bigger picture. I don't truly celebrate Christmas, but my family does, and they're off, and we honor that, and we have a great time with it. So, but it's just a great time to spend time with family, man. And but as I digress, which is my favorite word, you guys have anointed that my favorite word on YouTube. I see it in the comments a lot. So I'm excited to begin to promote that David Benavidez Caleb Plant fight. It tantalizes me from a boxing fan. Remember, I'm a boxing fan first. Don't ever forget that. I know I have access to these guys, and sometimes you guys may think, oh, because I know this guy, I know that guy. Believe me, I told Caleb Plant at the end of that fight, I said, Caleb Plant, this moment is going on my wall of fame. I need to take a picture with you. Like him and Coach Wade, that picture that I posted on my Instagram, that's going on my wall of fame. I knew what it took to get there for Caleb Plant. And I don't care whatever happens between me and Caleb this point forward. We don't really have a true relationship as we call every day, but I respect his hustle. I know what that moment meant to him, and I want to put that in my wall of fame. So when Lincoln gets 10, 11, 12 years old, and he start going with me to fights, and he start traveling, I can't wait for my son to start traveling with me, man. Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait, you know, and where he can hold his own at the media events. He can just sit down and enjoy himself. I can't wait for that. You know, I definitely want to give my son everything that I can. Man, I was watching Mike Tyson on them scrambled cable boxes because we didn't have cable. Man, I mean, we couldn't afford the pay-per-views. Oh, man. So, yeah, man. Just the thought of that gets me, like, makes me want to be a greater father. But as I digress again, I apologize. Where the fuck was I? Oh, about the Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant thing. That moment was special for me because I covered him going through what he went through in terms of with his daughter and him moving on, carrying that pain. So, and David Benevidez coming down from 270 pounds to make 168. He's lost 102 pounds to become a world champion in 6 years. Imagine that. Now, does that put things in perspective? You know what I mean? 5 years, you know. So, and I believe his home state is.
I got my socks.
Okay, cool.
They're so long.
Thank you, Lincoln. And so his home state, I believe, is Arizona. So that's a great Vegas fight. Caleb Plant now resides in Las Vegas, Nevada. That fight makes sense to be Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a sellout. It's a sellout, especially with the good undercard. It's a sellout. Those guys, their visceral dislike for one another will promote the shit out of that fight for the next year. And I'm excited to cover it. So anyways, man, barbershop conversations, man. Don't forget I leave Thursday. And don't forget we are a community. And I tell you this all the time. If you are part of my Patreon, send me a message in my Patreon. If you have a question, the question goes straight to my phone. And I was in a gym today with someone. He's actually a friend of mine. He says, "Man, I wanted to send you a question, but I didn't want to bother you." I says, "Nigga." I says, "Nigga, I am you, man. Send me the question. Send me the question. And if I'm able to ask it, I ask it." Now, like, I'm only there 3 days, so I'll always I'm going to start my research probably tonight. But when I get to a fight like Tuesday or Wednesday, like I will be next week in New York, you don't run out of questions because there's always new things that come about. But I don't think like you. So send me the question. Don't ever think like, are you bothering me? Don't worry about it. Don't send me the question. All right. If you have my personal number, text it to me. If you have it on Patreon, if you have me on Patreon, send it to me. If you follow me on Instagram, send it to me. I don't know when I will get to it in the comment section because it takes time for me to get there, because thanks to y'all, my channel is continuously growing, and I say thank you for that. So I don't know when it's going to pop up, or if it will pop up. You understand? Because sometimes I don't even look to the video, back to the video for like 3 or 4 days later, like this week. So you guys know, I uploaded 40, 50, 60 videos this weekend. So some videos I'm gonna forget about, and I may forget to go through that comment section. You know what I mean? Because life is real. But anyways, man, at the end of the day, I said all that to say we are a community. Send me your questions, and we're gonna make it do what it do, baby. Barbershop conversations. Make it do with it. What's that? Ray. That is the best biopic performance I've ever seen in my life. Jamie Foxx and Ray. Best I've ever seen. Barbershop conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.